Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a great day too. I'm going to do it. I'm going to risk alienating half of my audience because this 2018 is the most important election of our lives until the next most important election of our lives. As a YouTuber slash podcaster slash person with an audience, it is my absolute duty, like any celebrity or public figure, to tell you who to vote for. Because even though this is a paranormal conspiracy and true crime podcast, and that's why you listen to it, it is important for me to tell other people how to vote, regardless of my expertise in a particular area. Forget all that stuff. Sure, I Google conspiracies now and then. That makes me a political genius, and that makes me able to tell you who to vote for and what to vote for in the upcoming election. And so I'm going to do that now. I am putting Dead Rabbit Radio. We are fully endorsing the candidacy of Governor of Oregon, Hoover The Talking Seal. Let's listen to Hoover right now. How can you beat that? Could you beat that in a debate? Who is Hoover the Talking Seal? It's real. What you just heard was an actual seal talking. This story is so bizarre. We're going to cover a couple quick stories today, just because they're these fun little weird stories. Because tomorrow we got a more complicated story, and I wanted to just get a little bit more research on it before I presented it. I'll give you a hint. It's about RuneScape. So we're going to save that for tomorrow. So Hoover the Talking Seal. When I read this story, I was like, what? And I'm reading this article, and I'm like, and then they had a voice clip and multiple witnesses for this guy. So what happened was, this started back in 1971. There was a dude named Scotty Dunning. He was like walking around on the beach, and he sees a little tiny baby seal, just like, mah, mah, mah. He wasn't talking. Baby seal didn't know how to talk back then. He was just like, mah, mah, mah. And the dude was like, oh, dude, I got this baby seal here. Let's find the mom. So he gets like a friend of his, and they're like looking around, and they're like, hey, I don't know if they were like, Mom, here's your baby seal, but they were looking for this mom. And they found her, and she was dead. So at that point, he was like, like, what are you going to do? I know what I would do. I would take the baby seal home, because that's what I would do. Scotty Dunning's, actually his brother-in-law, George Swallow, what a terrible name. George Swallow eventually says, I'll take this little seal pup home. And he realizes that it's not going to it's a baby seal. He realizes the only thing it's going to eat is if he gets fish. I wouldn't do this. He gets fish and he like mushes it up and like feeds it to him as a mush. I might get fish fillets and do that. Fish are disgusting. But anyway, so I don't like fish at all, so I wouldn't want to sit around and mush one up. But actual like fish, and I guess if you live on the beach, you're used to the smell and the guts and all that stuff. But anyways, he mushed up fish, and he would feed it to this little pup, and he would hoover it up. So that's why they named him Hoover. So this little seal pup grew up, and they just basically treated it as a domestic pet. And they had like a little pond out in the back, and he'd like splash around in that. And as it got older, he would like, it's like a dog. He's talking to get off of the chair. I guess he probably wasn't abusive towards it, but he'd be like, come here, little Hoover, come here. And he'd like pet him and stuff like that. But over the years, the seal pup began to imitate his voice. And he even had like this Scottish brogue. I guess I should have said this took place in Scotland, but he had this like, did it take place in Scotland? Let me double check. Oh, wait, no, it didn't take place in Scotland. It took place in Maine. So anyways, but he got like this accent too when he was talking, because George Swallow was constantly saying like, get over here. I don't know why I'm making him out to be such an asshole. George Swallow would be like, come here. And it started to imitate his voice. Now, eventually, Hoover got bigger and bigger. And George is like, oh, I guess I need to get more fish. He actually had to like start buying fish in bulk. And then Hoover got so big that they're like, we just can't afford to feed you all this fish. So cue sad music. So George Swallows takes Hoover to a aquarium, and he's like, hey, do you want to have this seal? I raised them, and he's this giant dude at this point. Again, not George Swallows. Hoover is giant. And the aquarium goes, sure. And then George Swallows says, oh, by the way, he can talk, which you'd think would be the first thing you'd say. Hi, I want to donate this talking seal to your aquarium. But he goes, and the people at the aquarium are like, yeah, whatever. So for 5 years, I almost said George was swimming. For 5 years, Hoover's swimming around in the aquarium, and then he started talking again. Okay, so anyway, so then he starts talking again. And again, not from Scotland, but he had like this accent. And he's swimming around in the aquarium and he's talking. And the aquarium people, what are they called? Like aquatic specialists? Maybe they're just called staff, I don't know. But anyways, so they realized that he was like swimming around and he would say, "Hello there," and "Come over here," in a thick New England accent, not Scottish. So he's swimming around. He actually was on Good Morning America, and they, wrote articles about him because people would come out and they'd hear him be like, "Hello there, come over here." And that's where we get this audio clip. Now, I can't necessarily say that the seal knew what he was saying or what it meant. The fact that he could actually, you can tell he's saying something in English. Fascinating. You have to wonder, people have taught monkeys sign language and stuff like that, and elephants can paint. But you wonder how many other species out there could do more, but we just don't interact with them on a certain level. This seal is talking after years of being raised by this guy, but they can teach. And the thing about monkeys learning sign language, generally, here's a little bit of a spoiler for you. They don't actually speak sign language. The person with sign language teaches them these hand motions, and then the monkey will throw up 100 different things as they're moving around, and the researcher will turn to the camera and go, "He just said he loved me." Because in that 100 hand motions, he did something. Yes, there are the clips where they'll show him being like, "I love you," in sign language speech. That stuff's heavily edited. The fact monkeys, and this people are probably going to bombard me with links proving me wrong, and I'm sure that it's not always the case, but generally when monkeys are taught sign language, it is confirmation bias. Just like the sentient water thing, just like you tell water it's beautiful and then you freeze it and then the ice crystals are beautiful, you disregard all the parts of the experiment where they come out ugly. You just get rid of them. So anyways, this seal can definitely talk. It's just amazing that you can have cross-species talking. Here's a question. So if a seal can talk like a human, are there other animals that can mimic other animals? I guess parakeets can bark like a dog, but can a monkey sound like a chipmunk? Can a snake sound like a gopher? Actually, that would be a great survival skill for a snake. Sound like a gopher and eat gophers. Actually, how do we even know that doesn't happen? We don't know. There could be a snake. Okay, I'm getting off topic, but yeah, I think that's awesome. This guy raised this little seal. If researchers tried to replicate this experiment, maybe they could communicate with seals, and they could be like, "The water's cold." I don't know. Maybe the water's never cold. I guess, maybe a seal could be like, "Eat more fish, and omega-3s are good for you, fatty acid." You don't know. Maybe they could tell us all the wonders of the sea. Why don't we... Okay, at a certain point, I have to step back and realize I've gone to Nonsenseville. But I will finish that thought. What if we trained seals to explore underwater? And they could come up and they'd be like, "Treasure. Treasure." But again, maybe you just teach them the word treasure and they say that over and over again and you never find any treasure. The next story we're going to talk about, that was a bit of a weird rant. We'll see how much of that survives the editing process. Oh, I should also say that he's dead now. I should also say that, unfortunately, Hoover the Seal died in 1985. So he will not be running for governor, but if he was, I'm still going to endorse him anyways. I'm going to endorse Hoover the Talking Seal for any and all political offices, because listen to this. Voice of an angel. That is the next Abe Lincoln. The oratory skills are bar none. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.